Hey, what's going on, people? I hope you guys are doing good. So today we're going to be talking about the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, and we're going to go over several camera tips and tricks to help you get the most out of the cameras on these new iPhones. So one thing I really hate about recording video on a smartphone is how much the white balance will shift while you're recording the video. So check this out. Right now that's a white sink, but if I go down, you can see, look how much the color changes from the wood to the sink. Luckily, on the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, you can fix this inside of the settings. Let me show you. In order to fix this, we're gonna go into the main settings. We're gonna type in camera and then go into the camera settings, go under record video, scroll all the way to the very bottom and then enable lock white balance. Now, if I go back into the camera and start recording a video, you can see the white balance does not change no matter what I'm pointing at. And this is going to be great for people that record social media videos with like a white backdrop, because now you won't get any weird color shifts. So one new thing on the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max is the ability to capture photos in different resolutions. Previously on the iPhone 14 series, we were limited to 12 megapixels. And if you wanted to take advantage of the 48 megapixels, you had to use ProRes. However, now we can take 24 megapixel photos in addition to that 12 without having to touch RAW. Let me show you how to do it. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go into the main settings, go under camera settings, go under formats, and then tap on photo mode. And from here, you can switch from 12 to 24 megapixels to get extra resolution. And it's still a bin shot, so it's compressed from 48 megapixels, and it's gonna give you a really sharp image. Now you can also take full advantage of the sensor and capture all 48 megapixels just like last year by enabling ProRes. However, Apple did add a new feature on the Pro and Pro Max 15 series that I really think you're gonna like. Let me show you. So just like previously, we're gonna stay inside of the main camera settings. We're gonna go under formats. We're gonna tap on Pro Default. And you can see ProRes RAW Max is right here for 48 megapixels. We have ProRes for 12 megapixels, just like last year. But then we have a new HEIF Max, which is up to 48 megapixels. So if I turn that on and then go back into the camera, you can see I can toggle this on. And now if I take a picture, it's going to give me an HEIF photo up to 48 megapixels. So if I go into info, you can see right here, 48 megapixels, and it's not a RAW shot, so it's going to save space on my phone. This is going to be great for people that don't need that added flexibility of RAW, but still want that extra resolution for cropping. Now, I know it might seem a bit confusing that we have 3 different resolutions on one camera now, but there's a reason for this, and you can use this as like a baseline guide to go by. 12 megapixels is going to give you the best low light results because it's compressing 48 megapixels to kill the noise. 24 is going to be a good balance between resolution and noise control. And then 48 is going to give you the maximum resolution, which could also introduce the most noise. So use that as your guide and use those resolutions, because it's awesome that we have the flexibility that we have on the 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. So one thing that I just found doing this video, so think of it like a bonus tip or trick for you, is the ability to identify key objects in photos. Now I know with the 14 series we could do this with different types of dogs and cats, but I haven't seen it on this level. So right here I have a photo pulled up of some berries that I just took. If I tap on the eye on the bottom, you can see it identifies the berries and it tells me they're American Beauty Berry. If I back out of this and go to a picture that I took of Dennis here, tap on the eye, you can see it immediately identified Dennis, and if I tap on this picture, it'll show me more pictures of Dennis. But let me just show you this live. So we have some turtles behind me. I'm gonna go into the camera and I'm going to take a picture of these turtles. So we'll zoom in, get nice and close, and snap the photo. Now I'll pull up the photo, tap on the eye, give it a minute to process. It identified it as a reptile, but let's try to get a little bit closer. So we'll back up, try to get a little bit closer to the turtle, make it a little bit clearer, snap the shot, tap on the eye. There you go, cooter turtles. If I tap on that, it'll give me the results and show me exactly what it is I'm looking at. I think that's pretty cool. So the next tip or trick that I have for you is how to get more dynamic range and flexibility with your video thanks to ProRes Log. And this is a great scene to demo this. So one of the reasons why you'll want to shoot in ProRes Log is it gives you extra flexibility not only in your color correction and grading, but also it gives you the most dynamic range possible out of the sensor thanks to the image being completely flat, giving you the ability to add the color and contrast as you like. If you want to take advantage of ProRes Log, you're going to go into the main settings, tap on camera to go into the camera settings, tap on formats, scroll all the way down and make sure Apple ProRes is toggled on, then tap on ProRes encoding and select log. You also have the option for SDR and HDR, but log is going to give you the flat profile that you see a lot of professionals use, and it's going to give you the ultimate flexibility when it comes to color correction and dynamic range. So one of the problems with shooting ProRes on your iPhone though is that it consumes a ton of storage. Luckily, Apple thought about this year and they introduced USB-C 3.0 with a USB-C port on the iPhone. Thank you, Apple. But also we have external SSD support. And let me introduce you to the smallest thumb drive SSD that you can get for your iPhone. So this is just a 256 gig Samsung USB-C 3.1 thumb drive. Like I said, it goes all the way up to 256 gigs, but it does come in 64 and 128 gigabytes. But you can pick up the 256 for like 25 bucks, so it's really affordable. You can grab 4 of these for around 100 bucks, making them, you know, right on par with like a typical SSD, but it's a lot smaller, but it's still really fast. All you have to do is just take your thumb drive, plug it into the USB-C port on the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, load up the camera, go under video, make sure ProRes Log is turned on, and you'll see USB-C down here on the bottom, and it tells you the max time that you can record to the drive. Once this is filled, I can unplug it, offload the footage, or if I have multiple thumb drives like this, I can just pop in another one and keep it moving. Preserve. This brings me to my next tip or trick, and that's how to preserve your camera settings whenever you leave the app. If you want to preserve your camera settings, you're going to go into the main settings and select camera like we've been doing. Then you're going to tap on preserve settings, and from here you can select the settings that you want to preserve. So a good example of this would be if I was going out for the day to capture ProRes video, I could toggle on Apple ProRes. Now every time I go into the camera app, turn on video and make sure ProRes is toggled on, it will stay just like this. So if I, force close the camera app and put my phone in my pocket and pull it back out to capture a video, I can go under video and ProRes Log is still turned on. This is really useful because I can't tell you how many times I've gone out for sample photos or I missed a shot of like my kid because I wanted to take a portrait mode shot, but it automatically defaulted to photo. You can also adjust night mode, exposure adjustments, macro control, depth control, creative controls, camera mode, tons of stuff in here. So there's a lot of hype centered around the 5x zoom on the Pro Max. And while it's really capable and a great addition, I think the more important thing here is 10x zoom, because now that we have a 5x zoom optical lens on this, we can actually zoom a little bit further and get great quality. Let me show you what I mean. So to give you an example, I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick photo using the 5x. So there's Dennis, snap the shot. Now I'm gonna do 10x and zoom all the way in and then take the shot. And you could see 10x looks really good, especially compared to the 5x if we zoom in. I mean, that's pretty good. Here's another example that I took of a lily pad with 5x versus 10x. I'm telling you, that 10x digital zoom, I think that that's really like the hidden gem here. Did you know that you can apply the portrait mode effect to a non-portrait mode photo with the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max? It only works for faces, dogs, and cats, but it works really well. Let me give you an example. This is actually a regular photo. Despite it saying portrait up here at the top, you can see portrait is off, and it's just a standard photo that I took using the regular photo mode. If I go into edit, you can see I can adjust and apply the blur effect to give it that portrait mode effect, but I can also change the focal point. So right now it's on Dennis, but if I wanted the background in focus and not Dennis, I can do that. I can go all the way to 1.4, really blur him out, and I can tap on his face and bring it right back to him. I can also use this with the 5x zoom. So we'll go ahead and get out of this. I'll go down to the photo that I just took right here, go into edit, and once again, I can apply the portrait mode effect to a regular photo because there's a face in it. And I can also change the focal point. So if I wanted it focused on the camera, I could do that. On Dennis, I can do that. the background, I can do that. The last tip or trick that I have for you is how to adjust the focal length of the main sensors, since Apple did give us 3 different focal lengths now, and it basically uses sensor crop to take advantage of this, and it's pretty cool. And you can also set which focal length that you want as your default. Let me show you. First things first, let's dive into the settings, then go under camera, scroll all the way down until you see main camera, tap on that, and then from here you can toggle on the additional lenses. So we have 28mm and 35mm. And then you can set which one you want as your default lens. So for me, I'm gonna keep the 24, which is the main width of the main sensor. And then if I bounce back into the camera app and then tap on 1x, you can see it switches to 28, tap again, and it switches to 35, tap again, and it takes me back to the default, which is 24mm. Now, if I were to go back into the settings and set 28 as my default, and then go into the camera, you can see 1.2 times crop is applied, and that's because we are using the 28mm lens. So that's a quick way to adjust the default camera lens, as well as take advantage of these new focal lengths that Apple has assigned using a digital crop on that sensor. And honestly, the quality is really good despite it being, like I said, a digital crop. So there you go. That was several camera tips and tricks for the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. Some of these are only on the Pro Max, while others can be used on the Pro. Let me know in the comments if you found any of this useful. And if you want to see the dedicated video I'm going to do on ProRes Log and my workflow using it on the phone and keeping all the editing on the phone, make sure to stay tuned and drop this video a like.